Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Real quick before this video starts, I was just going to let you guys know that I was going to make this into one big episode, but this video is already 20 minutes long, and I want to just break it up into two videos now. So this is going to be the first one. I hope you guys do enjoy, and I hope you guys subscribe to stick around for the second part, because I still need to put the exhaust on, and just finish getting it street tuned. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and then I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today we are doing a whole lot of work on my GS. We are going to button up basically everything to get it running. If you guys saw the last video, you already kind of know all the parts we have left to install, but we're not going to waste any time. The first thing we are going to do is jump into the intercooler. I want to get all the piping on just because I want to see how cool it looks, and two, just to knock it out because it's pretty simple. I'm not going to be able to finish all of the intercooler piping just because my intake is gone, but I'll be able to at least do most of it, you know, from the turbo into the intercooler, and then from the intercooler probably up into whenever it comes up over here somewhere. So I already have the intercooler itself mounted. I did that whenever I first got it because I just wanted to see how it'd look. It's a smaller intercooler. It's a CX Racing intercooler if you guys haven't seen the last video. So it's just to get the car running for now. I do want to get a bigger one. I already have one in mind, but this will work perfectly for now. Alright, so ran into my first little inconvenience with the kit. Nothing wrong with the intercooler kit. It's just the turbo that I have mixed with this intercooler kit. They included this elbow coupler that's supposed to sit here, and then you would usually have the turbo that they basically included this for the kit. It had the outlet that came out from over here, so that's why it has this elbow. So I just got to order a different coupler. Not a big deal, just adding it onto my little list of things for miscellaneous stuff. So I won't be able to put that part on. Maybe if I run to an AutoZone I can find something. I can still do, you know, the rest of it because so far this isn't too bad. This MAV housing pipe just kind of bends down over there. Any other GS owners are doing this intercooler kit, you do gotta remove the horns. Yeah, let's finish what we can on this side. I'm gonna have to remove this washer fluid reservoir, which kind of sucks because I wanted to keep it. The way things are gonna get set up, I'm not gonna be able to use it. You'll see exactly what I mean in a second. Now that this thing is out, never really understood how massive this reservoir is. I mean, I guess you use a lot of washer fluid, but dang. Like I said, it does suck. I gotta get rid of it. I wanted to kind of keep it like really OEM, you know, just kind of have this be a whole OEM like plus build, but oh darn, not gonna be able to use my washer fluid, so I'll have to cut my losses. It's either this or the turbo. I don't know. It's kind of a hard choice. If you're keeping your AC, just expect there to be some tight fits. Obviously, everything will work. I mean, these hose clamps are thin enough to where I don't gotta worry. But just expect this to have a little bit of fight. Like you'll have to kind of like push up on this end to bring this down to slide stuff. But yeah, like I said, OEM plus. I ain't getting rid of my AC. That's like no. Alright, so now we got this corner on with this blow-off valve. It's just an eBay blow-off valve. I mean, look at like the little hose clamp. This one did come with the kit, so like I said, just getting it running. We will get something different in the future. One thing though is I think I'm gonna have to clearance some of this because it is pretty close. Like it is practically touching on the pipe, and I know it might cause like some rattling noises, so I'll probably come back in the future and clearance that, but for now it's okay. I'm gonna mock up that pipe to this one right now, just to kind of see how everything will look. Like I said before, I don't have my intake manifold on or my throttle body, so or even my radiator, so I'm not gonna be able to keep that pipe there, but just to see how it'll look, I'll toss it on real quick, then we'll be done with the intercooler for now. Alright, so I'm gonna have to clearance this part sooner than later because this isn't sitting as flush as it should be, or as like in there. It doesn't bring this pipe around enough, and it kind of has everything out of proportion. I kind of put the intake manifold here just so that way I could see kind of how things will work out, and I need to have this sitting all the way so I can know for sure. I'm probably gonna have to end up cutting this or something a little bit, because I don't think, I mean, you never know, once this is all in position it'll probably look a lot better, but I don't think this is gonna line up with this whenever this is in. I'm also gonna have to buy a different coupler, because this is almost 4 inches, it's 90 millimeters, and this is 3 inches. So I'm gonna have to buy a 2.5 to a 3 inch, and then a 4 inch to a 3 inch. So this is the map out of a twin turbo Aristo. I got that and a couple other sensors because I was planning on doing a GTE swap. But literally, as I bought these, that was whenever like the GTEs went from like 4 grand up to like 8 grand. So that's how this all came into play. So we got this in now. One less plug to also worry about. And that's probably where I'm gonna pause, or I mean at least call it finished. I just gotta order some stuff, so, and obviously clear off that, but I want to start on some other stuff first. So yeah, I mean, the intercooler is basically done, which is kind of nice because I've had it sitting in this massive box forever. So now that it's finally out of the way, clear up some room, and now I get to see what I want to tackle next. And just because we have a couple more things left to do, I'll just do halfway. Just because it's not fully completed, it's almost complete, and that way I don't slack and forget about it. What I'm probably honestly gonna do next is the wiring harness, just because I don't want to. And once it's done, it's out of the way. I literally am so close to finishing. Oh, whoops, my horn. I honestly just gotta go underneath and finish connecting everything into the transmission. It was kind of being a pain last time I had to do it, which is why I don't want to do it. And just a couple other little things. But literally once I get the harness done, I can put my intake manifold back on. Once I finish the wiring harness, I'll do my gauges, because I just want to make sure I have the current wiring all figured out before I add in some new wiring. Because then once the wiring harness is all figured out, I can then do the gauges. Because then once I do the gauges, I can finish all the stuff with my oil pressure gauge, and I can basically finish everything up down here, put the intake manifold back on. So I think that's going to be my current plan of attack. Finish the wiring harness. Once I'm done with the wiring harness, I could do the gauges, because then I can kind of just finish all the wiring I got to do for now. Just have that completely done. Because then I'll also be able to tap into this for my oil pressure gauge. And then once gauges are done, finish my power steering kit, my Chase Base power steering kit, because then everything underneath the intake manifold will be done. I can put the intake manifold back on, and then once the intake manifold's back on, it's just buttoning up the intercooler, radiator, hoses, fluids. So yeah, let's start jumping on it. I'm gonna knock this wiring harness out. I honestly don't know how much of it I'm going to show, because it's just plugging a couple things in underneath by the transmission. It's kind of hard to get down there. So if I do show some stuff, then I do. If not, I'll let you guys know kind of what happened and if anything major happened. But I'm definitely going to show you guys me installing these gauges, just because I want to show off this. And because whoever does want to do gauges in a GS, you'll kind of know what I'm gonna do. A lot of people run gauges in GSs. So yeah, I'm gonna hop on the harness right now, and then I'll check in with you guys in just a second. So I got the wiring harness practically finished. The only couple things that aren't plugged in are things that I'm not gonna need anymore. One of those things being some O2 sensor plugs, and just some smog stuff that I'm not gonna need anymore. So now that we're all done with that and caught up, we're gonna jump into my gauges. Okay, so I keep trying to get a shot for you guys so I can show you guys kind of what I'm dealing with, but there's just no good spots to get a good angle for this. But I'm basically working down there with all those fuses and no room to work. But my plan of attack is I'm just gonna run those some of those gauge cords, or harnesses I should say, right through there. One, so always protected through the grommet, and two, just keep everything neat and organized. We're just going to start with running the harnesses. Getting it through there should be pretty simple now, because there used to be a sub power cord, but now what's going to suck is just trying to get these, just trying to work through that little space. Once I get all that stuff pulled through, we'll do everything in the engine bay that we needed to do. We'll do the oil pressure gauge, and then I'll just connect my wideband to the O2 sensor, because they're two separate harnesses. You'll see what I mean in a second. And then I'll do the boost controller for last, just because I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put the boost solenoid itself. So yeah, I just gotta figure out where to put this the boost solenoid in this engine bay somewhere, because I might try and keep it over here, just because intake manifold is gonna be over here, power steering reservoir is gonna be over here, and possibly the fuel pressure regulator. So just, it's gonna be very crowded over here. Plus the ECU, I need to start moving stuff over to this side. Alright, so after some fighting, I used the hole that was already cut in the grommet. I had to make it a little bit bigger. But yeah, this grommet literally has so many wires going through it now. So I have those guys just resting on the engine bay right now.
Alright, so it's kind of hard to get a good shot, but I'm going to try my best to make this work. I had to remove 2 connectors, and I basically had to lay in here.
I was basically laying in here with my head down there and my feet up on the past the seat, just so I can get my hands down there and see what was going on. So I got the wires finally taken care of, and that was honestly one of the bigger things I was dreading doing, just because I've done it before and I don't like doing it. So now that that's out of the way, I can make progress on everything else. It's gonna be very tedious and time consuming just doing all these like wires, you know, for the power and ground and all that stuff. So that's basically the hard part over with. Now the tedious part, and then I get to see what my gauges look like. I'm very excited because I've had those gauges for a long time, and I finally get to turn them on and see how they look.
Alright, so I took the glove box out because it just makes things 10 times easier. Funnily enough, it doesn't make it any easier to get to that grommet that's way up there. But I'm gonna run the cords for the gauges, like these guys over here, all these guys. I'm gonna run them up behind this guy. Oh, sorry about that focus. But I'm basically just gonna run it that same exact path that those wires are going, because those are to my those are going up to my head unit. So I'll follow that up into there, which will bring them all the way down into here, which is where my gauges are gonna sit, and then it's just wiring, wiring and plugging stuff in.
To take out the glove box on these cars, there's 2 10mm on the outside, and then 3 screws on the inside on the top of the glove box, and then you just have some cords that are in here for the wiring. Like just it's just these guys and this guy. And then yeah, it comes right out. I'm not filming too much of this aspect. It's just really hard to get a bunch of these angles because I'm working literally up in the dash, so there's no way I'm gonna get a camera up. So once we start working on the outside stuff again, there'll be a lot more shots for this, but as of right now, you guys are stuck with just me giving you updates. Alright, so I'm at a good stopping point with the stuff on the inside, so now we'll jump to the stuff on the engine bay side. For the wideband, I'm probably just gonna leave this as it is for now, because I have to just connect this, but I'm gonna put this side in the downpipe just to make things easier for me, so then I can just plug that right in, and then that'll be done. So I'll probably do the downpipe a little bit later, just because I want the room, just in case. But as of right now, what we can do is the oil pressure gauge.
Sorry, I took one of the plugs out. So what we're gonna do is,
we're gonna put the sensor in here, and then we'll grab the end of the cord that's over there, and then we'll try and make it look all neat, plug it in, and then after that, that's pretty much it until I do all the wiring. Because the wiring is a little more tedious, I'll probably pause on that for now, just to have all the engine bay stuff in, because I want to finish the power steering reservoir kit, so I can put the manifold back on, because then with the reservoir done and then the manifold back on with the throttle body, I can finish up the engine bay, because then it'll just be all the wiring that's left. I have the serpentine belt I can put on, and I can put my radiator back in. So I want to just have the engine bay basically be about completed, because that's where most of the work is. But don't worry, I will still wire in the gauges this episode. I just want to kind of jump from that into this. So let's finish this up, and then let's jump into the power steering kit. Alright, so I ran into a problem. So obviously there's the sensor, right? And then there is the the oil pressure gauge connector that I gotta plug in. It's not long enough, so I gotta figure out if I want to try and find another spot to run this, or if I want to. I mean, I don't really have another choice. Either that or extend the wires, and I don't really feel like extending the wires. So yeah, I guess we get to look for a new spot. Lovely. I kind of just pulled the wire as much as I could to plug it in, and then I'm gonna see how everything kind of sits, because maybe I just had to pull slack and it was pulling that cable. Yeah, so it pulls on it a little too much. Like it's a little too tense for my liking, plus it just doesn't reach in general. I'm sure I can find a spot. It just kind of sucks that this one isn't gonna work out.
Okay, so I'm not sure where I left off last time with you guys, but as you guys just saw, what I've done so far is I trimmed up back here. That way we can get this pipe to mount up a little better, which it does now. What does suck is the pipe that goes up to the throttle body. I'm gonna have to make one, or just do it myself. So that's something else. But Chase Bates power steering kit is all done. All the lines are ran, and it is such a nice kit. It's kind of confusing at first to figure out where all like the lines go, but once you do, it all mounts up pretty easily. I used, I'm pretty sure this is where part of the stock ECU went, like that box. So I just used this hole, and this fits. We tested the intake manifold earlier, and it clears it all, so no fitment issues there. So now just part of the big things left is just running the gauges, and then putting on the intake manifold and finishing up some of the little wiring for the injectors. About to order the fuel system stuff, so that should be here in a couple days. And yeah, so we're just gonna keep going at it and knock it out as fast as we can. Okay, so it's been a couple hours since I filmed anything last. I've just been doing a bunch of wiring, so haven't been able to take a lot of videos just because of where I'm working. So let me show you guys just what I've been doing and how the gauges look, because I got them all wired in. Things aren't tucked away, so don't expect a quality finish right now. I'm going to show you the disaster I've been working with. But everything works now. So let's take a look. So for starters, I had to pull apart this whole bottom panel. That also includes taking apart where like the key is and all down here, just so I can run my oil pressure gauge back underneath my center console where that green wire is. It basically went up in there. It still needs to be tucked a little bit better. These purple and brown wires, they're like old speaker wires that are just going to nothing, so those are just taking up room. And then on this side we have the glove box completely taken out. This terrible working space, you know, to get your wires through. Like, you see where the red wire is going? In that like little dark abyss, yeah, that's where you have to stick your hand in and hope for the best. And let me show you guys the gauges. I know they're not perfectly straight and everything, but they all work. So this, I still gotta run a vacuum hose just so that way I can, you know, get the gauge to actually read. This one is plugged in, so this one should be able to read. And then this one, I just gotta plug in the O2 sensor. And then we gotta run a couple of wires to the Haltech, so that way it can basically talk to it. And then that'll be it for this side. Then I can kind of tuck everything in and make it all nice. And then I'm definitely taking that as a dub, so one less thing off of there. I'm very glad I got that taken care of, because that and then the power steering kit were just like the two biggest projects I just didn't want to deal with. Just because they're kind of tedious. Not the Chase Bays, that one wasn't as bad. It's just all the wiring you have to do for the gauges. So I'm about to order the rest of my fuel system tonight. That way I can hopefully get it sometime this week, you know, as I'm recording this. And then just finish it, just keep working it out. I'm gonna try and just work on it little by bit as much as I can. Sorry if this video is just getting really choppy, because I'm just trying to work on this with as much free time as I can get. So throughout like this week, I'm probably just gonna do little things here and there. Any like big major updates, I'll obviously update you guys. Like I said, like the fuel system, that's for sure gonna get recorded because that's such a big part of this car. So yeah, so I'm happy with what I did today. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen next.